Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Tupac Shakur. Tupac Amaru Shakur, also known by his stage names Tupac, Makaveli, and Pac, was an American rapper and actor. As of 2007, Shakur has sold over 75 million records worldwide. His double-disc albums All Eyez on Me and his greatest hits are among the best-selling albums in the United States. He has been listed and ranked as one of the greatest artists of all time by many publications, including Rolling Stone, which ranked him 86th on its list of the 100 greatest artists of all time. He is consistently ranked as one of the greatest and most influential rappers of all time. On April 7, 2017, Shakur was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Shakur began his career as a roadie, backup dancer, and MC for the alternative hip-hop group Digital Underground, eventually branching off as a solo artist. Most of the themes in Shakur's songs revolved around the violence and hardship in inner cities, racism, and other social problems. Both of his parents and several other people in his family were members of the Black Panther Party, whose ideals were reflected in his songs. During the latter part of his career, Shakur was a vocal participant during the East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry, becoming involved in conflicts with other rappers, producers, and record label staff members, most notably the Notorious B.I.G. and the label Bad Boy Records. Apart from his career in music, Shakur also acted in films and on TV. He starred in various films in the 1990s, including Poetic Justice, Gang-Related, and Gridlocked. On September 7, 1996, Shakur was shot in a drive-by shooting at the intersection of Flamingo Road and Koval Lane in Las Vegas, Nevada. He was taken to the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, where he died from his injuries 6 days later. Early life. Neighborhood of New York City, where Shakur was born. Shakur was born on June 16, 1971, in the East Harlem section of Manhattan in New York City. His birth name was Lezan Parrish Crooks, but in 1972, he was renamed after Tupac Amaru II, the 18th-century Peruvian revolutionary who was executed after leading an indigenous uprising against Spanish rule. Shakur was African American. His mother, Afeni Shakur, and his father, Billy Garland, were active members of the Black Panther Party in New York in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Lezan was born a month after his mother was acquitted of more than 150 charges of conspiracy against the United States government and New York landmarks in the New York Panther 21 trial. Many people in Shakur's life were involved with the Black Liberation Army. Some were convicted of serious criminal offenses and imprisoned, including his mother. His godfather, Elmer Geronimo Pratt, a high-ranking Black Panther, was convicted of murdering a schoolteacher during a 1968 robbery, although his sentence was later overturned. His stepfather, Mutulu, spent 4 years at large on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list beginning in 1982. Mutulu was wanted for having helped his sister Assata Shakur, Tupac's godmother, to escape from a penitentiary in New Jersey in 1979. She had been imprisoned since 1977 for killing a state trooper in 1973. She lived as a fugitive for several years before gaining asylum in Cuba in 1985. Mutulu was caught in 1986, tried and convicted, and imprisoned for the robbery of a Brinks armored truck in which 2 police officers and a guard were killed. Shakur had an older stepbrother, Mopreme Komani Shakur, and a half-sister, Sakiwa. 2 years his junior, Mopreme performed in many of his recordings. At the age of 12, Shakur enrolled in Harlem's 127th Street Repertory Ensemble, and was cast as the Travis younger character in the play A Raisin in the Sun, which was performed at the Apollo Theater. In 1986, his family moved to Baltimore, Maryland. After completing his second year at Paul Laurence Dunbar High School, he transferred to the Baltimore School for the Arts. There he studied acting, poetry, jazz, and ballet. He performed in Shakespeare plays, and in the role of the Mouse King in the ballet The Nutcracker. Shakur, accompanied by one of his friends, Dana "Mouse" Smith, as his beatbox, won many rap competitions, and was considered to be the best rapper in his school. He was remembered as one of the most popular kids in his school, because of his sense of humor, superior rapping skills, and ability to mix with all crowds. He developed a close friendship with Jada Pinkett that lasted until his death. In the documentary Tupac: Resurrection, Shakur says, "Jada is my heart. She will be my friend for my whole life." Pinkett Smith calls him one of my best friends. He was like a brother. It was beyond friendship for us. The type of relationship we had. You only get that once in a lifetime. A poem written by Shakur titled Jada appears in his book, The Rose That Grew From Concrete, which also includes a poem dedicated to Pinkett Smith called The Tears in Cupid's Eyes. During his time in art school, Shakur became affiliated with the Baltimore Young Communist League USA. He began dating the daughter of the director of the local chapter of the Communist Party USA. In 1988, Shakur and his family moved to Marin City, California, a suburban community located north of San Francisco, across the bay. He attended Tamalpay High School in nearby Mill Valley. Shakur contributed to the school's drama department by performing in several productions. In an English class, Shakur wrote a paper, Conquering All Obstacles, in which he said, "Our raps, not the sorry story raps everyone is so tired of. They are about what happens in the real world. Our goal is to have people relate to our raps, making it easier to see what really is happening out there. Even more important, what we made it to better our world." He began attending the poetry classes of Layla Steinberg in 1989. That same year, Steinberg organized a concert with a former group of Shakur's, Strictly Dope. The concert led to him being signed with Atron Gregory. He set him up as a roadie and backup dancer with the hip-hop group Digital Underground in 1990. 1987 to 93, beginnings and rise to fame. Although Shakur began recording in 1987, his professional entertainment career did not take off until the early 1990s, when he debuted in Digital Underground's Same Song, from the soundtrack to the 1991 film Nothing But Trouble, also appearing with the group in the film of the same name. The song was later released as the lead song of the Digital Underground extended play This Is an EP release, the follow-up to their debut hit album Sex Packets. Shakur appeared in the accompanying music video. After his rap debut, he performed with Digital Underground again on the album Sons of the P. Shakur went on to feature Shock G and Money B from Digital Underground in his track, I Get Around, which ranked 1 on US Billboard Hot 100. Later, he released his first solo album, Tupacalypse Now. Though the album did not generate any top 10 hits, Tupacalypse Now is hailed by many critics and fans for its underground feel, with many rappers such as Nas, Eminem, Game, and Talib Kweli having pointed to it as inspiration. Although the album was originally released on Interscope Records, rights of it are now owned by Amaru Entertainment. The album's name is a reference to the 1979 film Apocalypse Now. The album generated significant controversy for numerous reasons. The songs, Trapped and Brenda's Got a Baby, were widely noted for their poetic qualities, but also offered strong critiques of unjust social policies. Dan Quayle criticized it after a Texas youth's defense attorney claimed he was influenced by Tupacalypse Now and its theme of police brutality before shooting a state trooper. Quayle said, "There's no reason for a record like this to be released. It has no place in our society." Shakur stated that he felt he had been misunderstood. He said, "I started out saying I was down for the young black male, you know, and that was gonna be my thing," Shakur said. "I just wanted to rap about things that affected young black males. When I said that, I didn't know that I was gonna tie myself down to just take all the blunts and hits for all the young black males, to be the media's kicking post for young black males. I just figured, since I lived that life, I could do that. I could rap about that." The record was important in showcasing Shakur's political conviction and his focus on lyrical prowess. On MTV's Greatest Rappers of All Time list, Tupacalypse Now was listed as one of Shakur's certified classic albums, along with Me Against the World, All Eyez on Me, and The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory. Tupacalypse Now went on to be certified gold by the RIAA. It featured 3 singles: Brenda's Got a Baby, Trapped, and If My Homie Calls. His second studio album, Strictly for My Niggaz, was released in February 1993. The album did better than the previous one, debuting at number 24 on the Billboard's 200. The album contains many tracks emphasizing Shakur's political and social views. This album had more commercial success than its predecessor, and there were noticeable differences in production. While Shakur's first effort had an indie rap-oriented sound, this album was considered his breakout album. It spawned the hits Keep Your Head Up and I Get Around and reached platinum status. On vinyl, Side A was labeled the Black Side, and Side B the Dark Side. It is his 10th biggest-selling album, with 1,366,000 units moved as of 2004. 1993 to 95, acting and rise to prominence. In 1994, in late 1993, Shakur formed the group Thug Life with a number of his friends, including Big Syke, Makaveli, his stepbrother Mopreme Shakur, and the Rated R. The group released their only album Thug Life, Volume 1 on September 26, 1994, which went gold. The album featured the single, Pour Out a Little Liquor, produced by Johnny J. Jackson, who went on to produce a large part of Shakur's album All Eyez on Me. The group usually performed their concerts without Shakur. The album was originally released by Shakur's label Out Gutta Records, as a result of criticism about gangster rap at the time. The original version of the album was scrapped and re-recorded, with many of the original songs being cut. Among the notable tracks on the album are Bury Me AG, Cradle to the Grave, Pour Out a Little Liquor, How Long Will They Mourn Me, and Street 8 Ballon. The album contains 10 tracks, because Interscope Records felt many of the other recorded songs were too controversial to release. Although the original version of the album was not completed, Shakur performed the planned first single from the album, Out on Bail, at the 1994 Source Awards. Although the album was originally released on Shakur's label Out Gutta Amaru Entertainment, The label owned by Shakur's mother has since gained the rights to it. Thug Life, Volume 1 was certified gold. The track, How Long Will They Mourn Me, appeared later in 1998 from Tupac's Greatest Hits album. His third album, Me Against the World, was very well received, with many calling it the magnum opus of his career. It is considered one of the greatest and most influential hip-hop albums of all time. It is his fourth best-selling album, with 3,524,567 copies in the United States as of 2011. Me Against the World won Best Rap Album at the 1996 Soul Train Music Awards. Dear Mama was released as the album's first single in February 1995, along with the track, Old School, as the B-side. Dear Mama would be the album's most successful single, topping the Hot Rap Singles chart and peaking at the ninth spot on the Billboard Hot 100. The single was certified platinum in July 1995, and later placed at 1 on the year-end charts. The second single, So Many Tears, was released in June, 4 months after the first single. The single would reach number 6 on the Hot Rap Singles chart and number 44 on the Billboard Hot 100. Temptations, released in August, was the third and final single from the album. The single would be the least successful of the three released, but still did fairly well on the charts, reaching number 68 on the Billboard Hot 100. 35 on the Hot R&B, Hip-Hop Singles and Tracks, and 13 on the Hot Rap Singles charts. 1995–96, final recordings. All Eyez on Me was the fourth studio album by Tupac, recorded in October 1995, and released on February 13, 1996, by Death Row Records and Interscope Records. The album is frequently recognized as one of the crowning achievements of 1990s rap music. It has been said that, despite some undeniable filler, it is easily the best production Tupac's ever had on record. It was certified 5 times platinum after just 2 months in April 1996 and 9 times platinum in 1998. The album featured the Billboard Hot 100 #1 singles, How Do You Want It? And California Love. It featured 5 singles in all, the most of any Tupac album. Moreover, All Eyez on Me made history as the first double full-length hip-hop solo studio album released for mass consumption. It was issued on 2 compact discs and 4 LPs. Chart-wise, All Eyez on Me was the second album from Tupac to hit #1 on both the Billboard 200 and the top R&B, hip-hop albums charts. It sold 566,000 copies in the first week of its release, and was charted on the top 100 with the top 1-week SoundScan sales since 1991. By the end of 1996, the album had sold 5 million copies. The album won the 1997 Soul Train R&B, Soul, or Rap Album of the Year award. Shakur also won the award for Favorite Rap, Hip-Hop Artist at the 24th Annual American Music Awards. Makaveli, The Don Illuminati, The 7-Day Theory, commonly shortened to The 7-Day Theory, is his 5th and final studio album, and was released under the pseudonym Makaveli. The album was completely finished in a total of 7 days during the month of August 1996. The lyrics were written and recorded in 3 days, and mixing took an additional 4 days. In 2005, MTV.com ranked Illuminati, The 7-Day Theory, on the greatest hip-hop albums of all time list, and, in 2006, recognized it as a classic. The emotion and anger showcased on the album have been admired by a large part of the hip-hop community, including other rappers. George "Papa G" Price, former head of publicity for Death Row, claimed that Makaveli, which we did was sort of tongue-in-cheek and it was not really to come out. And after Tupac was murdered, it did come out. But before that, it was going to be a sort of an underground record. The album peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Top R&B, Hip-Hop Albums chart and the Billboard 200. The album generated the second highest debut week sales total of any album that year. Was certified 4 times platinum on June 15, 1999. Death Row Records. In October 1995, Shakur was released from prison after serving 9 months of a sentence for sexual assault and formed a new group called Outlaw Immortals. Shakur joined the Death Row label, under which he released the single, California Love. On February 13, 1996, Shakur released his 4th solo album, All Eyez on Me. This double album was the first and second of his 3-album commitment to Death Row Records. It sold more than 9 million copies. The record was a general departure from the introspective subject matter of Me Against the World, being more oriented toward a thug and gangster mentality. Shakur continued his recordings despite increasing problems at the Death Row label. Dr. Dre left his post as in-house producer to form his own label, Aftermath. Shakur continued to produce hundreds of tracks during his time at Death Row, most of which would be released on his posthumous albums Still I Rise, Until the End of Time, Better Days, Loyal to the Game and Pac's Life. He also began the process of recording an album, One Nation, with the New York-based Bootcamp Clique and their label Duck Down Records. On June 4, 1996, he and Outlawz released the diss track, Hit 'Em Up, a scathing lyrical assault on Chris Wallace and others associated with him. In the track, Shakur claimed to have had sexual intercourse with Faith Evans, the wife of Wallace, Shakur's former friend and rival, and attacked Bad Boy's street credibility. Shakur was convinced that some members associated with Bad Boy had known about the 1994 attack on him due to their behavior that night, and the information that his sources gave to him. According to a 2005 interview with Jimmy Henchman in Vibe magazine, after the attack, Shakur immediately accused Henchman, an associate of Bad Boy CEO Sean Combs, of orchestrating the attack. Shakur, therefore, aligned himself with Suge, Death Row's CEO, who was already bitter toward Combs over a 1995 incident at the Platinum Club in Atlanta, Georgia, which culminated in the death of Jake Robles, the friend and bodyguard of Suge Knight. Knight was adamant in voicing his suspicions about Combs' involvement in the years following their killings, were associates of both Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. have made comments indicating the pair, were it not for their deaths, would have reconciled. Collaborator Buckshot claimed in 2015 that Shakur defended him against Suge Knight, who had insisted that the East Coast rapper could not come with him to Las Vegas on the grounds of the ongoing hip-hop rivalry. Shakur asserted that he would not board the plane unless accompanied by Buckshot, and was described by the fellow rapper as looking discomforted while they recorded a song together in a studio. After Shakur tore up the plane tickets during an August 15, 1996, appearance at the Brotherhood Crusade rally, which featured several artists discussing the importance of voting, Shakur compared the sales of Death Row Records to voters in the US and the influence he and other artists had over an adoring fan base. Outlawz. When Shakur recorded Hit 'Em Up, a diss song toward Biggie, he recruited 3 members from the former group, Dramacidal, with whom he had worked previously, and was eager to do so again. Shakur, with the three New Jersey rappers and other associates, formed the original lineup of the Outlaws. When Tupac signed to Death Row after his release from prison, he recruited stepbrother Makaveli Shakur and Big Syke from Thug Life. Hussein Fatal, Napoleon, Idi Amin, Castro, Yaki Gaddafi, and Storm were also added, and together they formed the original lineup of the Outlaw Immortals that debuted on Tupac's multi-platinum smash All Eyez on Me. They later dropped the immortal part of their name after the untimely deaths of Tupac and Yaki Gaddafi and moved on as Outlaws without the members of Thug Life. Young Noble was later added, and appeared on Tupac's second Death Row release, The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory. It was on Tupac's Makaveli album that Outlaws first came to the greater rap community's notice, appearing on a few songs. The idea behind the group was for each member to have a rap name coinciding with the names of various tyrants or enemies of America, past and present. Outlaws chose in later years to make a backronym out of the letters of their group name, operating under Thug Laws as Warriors, although it does not stand for the group's name, and is used infrequently. On forming the Outlaws, Shakur gave each of them a name of a dictator, military leader or an enemy of America. On set of Made Niggers video shoot in 1996, Yaki Gaddafi after Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, Hussein Fatal after Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein, Mussolini after Italian dictator Benito Mussolini, Khomeini after Iranian Islamic Revolution leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, Castro after Cuban leader Fidel Castro, Idi Amin after Ugandan dictator Idi Amin, Napoleon after military strategist and leader Napoleon Bonaparte. For himself, Shakur created the alias Makaveli from Renaissance Italian philosopher and strategist Niccolò Machiavelli, whose writings inspired Shakur in prison, but who also preached that a leader could eliminate his enemies by all means necessary. He mentioned Makaveli Records a few times before his death. This was supposed to be a music label for up-and-coming artists that Shakur had an interest in developing and potentially signing, and his own future projects would have also been published through it as well. Acting career. In addition to rapping and hip-hop music, Shakur acted in films. He made his first film appearance in Nothing But Trouble, as part of a cameo by the Digital Underground. His first starring role was in the film Deuce. In this film, he played Roland Bishop, a violent member of the Wrecking Crew, for which he was hailed by Rolling Stone's Peter Travers as the film's most magnetic figure. He then went on to star in Poetic Justice and Above the Rim. After his death, 3 of his completed films were released: Bullet, Gridlocked, and Gang-Related. Shakur had been slated to star in the Hughes brothers' film Menace to Society, but was replaced by Lawrence Tate after assaulting Ellen Hughes as a result of a quarrel. Shakur reportedly wanted another type of role, but Hughes would not conform to his wishes, leading to the altercation between the pair, which, according to Tyrone Turner, also led members of Shakur's entourage to become physically aggressive toward Hughes. In 2013, Hughes said Shakur would have outshined the other actors had he been in the film, because he was bigger than the movie. Hughes' comments were seen as validation that he had forgiven the rapper. Since the incident, Lawrence Tate, who had several rehearsals with Shakur before his part was recast, recalled Shakur being close to the Hughes brothers, but that his actions were the result of creative differences. Director John Singleton mentioned that he wrote the script for Baby Boy with Shakur in mind. for the lead role. It was eventually filmed with Tyrese Gibson in his place and released in 2001, 5 years after Shakur's death. The film features a mural of Shakur in the protagonist's bedroom, as well as featuring the song, Hail Mary, in the film's score. Artistry. Shakur's music and philosophy are rooted in many American, African American, and world entities, including the Black Panther Party, black nationalism, egalitarianism, and liberty. Shakur's love of theater and Shakespeare also influenced his work. A student of the Baltimore School for the Arts where he studied theater, Shakur understood the Shakespearean psychology of inter-gang wars and intercultural conflict. During a 1995 interview, Shakur stated, "I love Shakespeare. He wrote some of the rawest stories, man. I mean, look at Romeo and Juliet. That's some serious ghetto shit. You got this guy Romeo from the Bloods who falls for Juliet, a female from the Crips, and everybody in both gangs is against them. So they have to sneak out, and they end up dead for nothing. Real tragic stuff. And look how Shakespeare busts it up. With Macbeth, he creates a tale about this king's wife who convinces a happy man to chase after her and kill her husband so he can take over the country. After he commits the murder, the dude starts having delusions just like in a Scarface song. I mean, the king's wife just screws this guy's whole life up for nothing." In a European interview, music journalist Chuck Phillips said that what impressed him the most about Shakur was that he was a poet. Phillips said, "I like sacred texts, myths, proverbs, and scriptures. When Tupac came along, I thought he was quite the poet. It wasn't just how cleverly they rhymed. It wasn't just the rhythm or the cadence. I liked their attitude. It was protest music in a way nobody had ever thought about before. These artists were brave, wise, and smart. Wickedly smart." Tupac had so many sides. He was unafraid to write about his vulnerabilities. Shakur's debut album, Tupacalypse Now, revealed his socially conscious side. On this album, Shakur attacked social injustice, poverty, and police brutality on songs Brenda's Got a Baby, Trapped, and Part-Time Mother. On this initial release, Shakur helped extend the success of such rap groups as Boogie Down Productions, Public Enemy, X-Clan, and Grandmaster Flash, as he became one of the first major socially conscious rappers from the West Coast. On his second record, Shakur continued to rap about the social ills facing African Americans, with songs like "The Streets Are Death Row" and "Last Words." He also showed his compassionate side with the anthem "Keep Your Head Up," while simultaneously putting his legendary aggressiveness on display with the title track from the album Strictly for My Niggaz. He added a salute to his former group Digital Underground by including them on the playful track I Get Around. Throughout his career, an increasingly aggressive attitude can be seen pervading Shakur's subsequent albums. The contradictory themes of social inequality and injustice, unbridled aggression, compassion, playfulness, and hope all continued to shape Shakur's work, as witnessed with the release of his incendiary 1995 album Me Against the World. In 1996, Shakur released All Eyez on Me. Many of these tracks are considered by many critics to be classics, including Ambition's AZ a Rider, I Ain't Mad at Ya, California Love, Life Goes On, and Picture Me, Rollin'. Shakur described All Eyez on Me as a celebration of life, and the record was critically and commercially successful. Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.